Now, welcome to my little hub of operations. Please excuse all the mess in the background and the whirring away of the printer. It's Wednesday, it's the 18th of December, and this evening we have our big community carol service. And so I'm here in the office. Well, first of all, enjoying just some peace and quiet. I haven't scheduled anything else into this day other than going to pick up the car from the garage. And the reason for that is because, well, I mean, this evening is a reasonably big event for us anyway. There'll be a couple of hundred people in the village hall tonight with musicians and singers and members of the community and all that sort of thing. And we'll be gathering together for a jolly good old carol sing tonight. And I'm not a person who gets hugely nervous per se, but there are certain anxieties that surround things like carol services, because you're kind of aware that they are important bits and bobs, important happenings as part of people's Christmas, and you want to do the best. So this is where Andrew, the Albanach knitter, moves away from the peace and calm of knitting on the couch to being, you know, doing the job that they actually pay me for. So what I'm doing here is I'm printing out, did I say this already? Can't remember. I've got 200 orders of service to print out and fold, and we put in all the words of the carols and all the things that are coming up. So and it covers 2 pieces of A4, 2 pieces of, that's A5, cut in half. So I'm folding these, and then what's currently printing at the moment is the outside cover. So once I've folded these insides, I have to then stick them all inside each other. It's very exciting. It's very exciting. But I just thought I'm realising that this camera is moving a lot. It's trained to follow my head, which makes it all a little bit seasicky, doesn't it? Well, we do live in an island, so we want to give you the authentic Arran experience. I'll try not move very much. What was I going to say? I was just going to say I recognise I have been the world's worst Vlogmas person. I told you at the beginning, didn't I? It wasn't going to be much of a Vlogmas. At the most, I'll try and pop in 2 or 3 times during the season, because it just gets very, very busy. I think it's mainly because of things I'm involved in. As you know, I'm the pastor of a church, so there's a few wee extra things that appear at Christmas time, services here and there and special events. I also play in the Island Brass Band. I've played in a brass band since I was a child at school, and throughout my work with the Salvation Army, that was part of that as well. I'm also involved in the local choir. I'm just one of the basses there, although I don't typically sing bass, but I do sing bass there. And on occasion, I do actually assist with the choir in terms of some of its musical things. We have a lovely lady who leads the choir, but her husband hasn't been so well of late. So I've led a couple of rehearsals. And my wife Tracy, she plays the piano, because normally it's her husband that plays the piano. So we've been sort of standing in to help out that music group as well. But the great fun really has been with the brass band in particular. It's quite a small band, and we're not we're not pros. We're very much amateurs, and some of our players have only been playing for a few years, so we're reasonably, we're okay. We get a decent tune, and as long as you can enjoy the extra notes that are added from time to time. But we've been very busy. On Sunday just gone, in the afternoon, we went to our local care home. We have one care home here on the island, and it's not hugely busy because they have difficulty getting staff. But there is one, and it's very nice. It's a very nice purpose-built building, and they have some lovely residents in there. So we were there Sunday afternoon, singing some Christmas carols to them. And these folks are in various stages of the challenges of older life, some with dementia and some with other challenges. But one of the wonderful things about music is that we have a part of our. I'm not a doctor. I'm not up in this, but I've learned enough over the years to know that all the bit in our brain that stores all our lyrics and recognition of tunes and things is a distinct area in our brain, and it's often wonderful to see folks who may not be able to remember who you are or even remember family or that sort of thing, but if you play them a very familiar Christmas carol, they can sing the words, and that's a beautiful thing. So it's lovely to do that. We're also just generally out in community at various events. The band have a busy week. They're playing tonight at our carol service, and then on Saturday night we have a carol service here in Albanach. We're at the village where I live, just for the community. And then on Sunday, some of the band are playing at a local church service. I'm not there because I'll be at my own church service. And then in the afternoon, we're going down to the south of Arran, to a village called Kildonan. And they have a little community down there with a little community hall, and so we go down there each year and do some carol singing with the community as well. We just provide the music, they sing along, and there's usually mulled wine and mince pies and various traditional things like that. So that's that. I'm really looking forward to Sunday morning. I see that the carol service this evening is for the whole community. It's it's not formal because we don't really do formal that much, but it's more of a kind of more formal. But on Sunday we have at church we have a pop-up nativity service. So we've encouraged people of all ages, whether they're 2 or 92, to come dressed as their favourite nativity character. So I don't know if they'll do it. I don't know if they'll be up for it. I'm up for it. I'm always up for it. I think I'll be dressing as my typical shepherd. That tends to be my character of choice, feeling a little bit like the sort of the outcast of society. It always encourages me no end that the shepherds were invited along to the stable to see the baby Jesus, so I'll be going as the shepherd. So I'm looking forward to that. We have a number of families and children in the service, and we don't want to hassle them with having to rehearse lines and all that sort of thing about you just don't want to do that. So we're just going to make it up as we go along and have some good fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. And that will be, in a sense, our local church, our fellowship's opportunity just to celebrate, have fun, and remember the Christmas story. Whereas this evening is much about, all the things, all the readings and the carols and the all that sort of stuff. So it'll be good, but it'll be different sort of good. And then moving towards Christmas, my daughter Katie comes home I think on Friday, in a few days' time, from university from her first term, and she'll be bringing her boyfriend with her, Robert, who doesn't live in Edinburgh, but he comes from the last city we lived in, just outside London, but he's currently a student at the University of Cambridge. So he will be with us. My eldest is coming home, so they arrive on... Actually, we don't know yet. Going to stay with Grandma, who lives just down the road now. So we'll stay there for the duration. And then we're all, as a family, heading up to Albanach Christian Centre, where I work. Sorry, just getting more stuff out of the printer. So we're all going up there for Christmas because, as you may be able to tell, if I sort of half show you around by moving my head here, the office is in a fair state of disrepair in terms of stuff everywhere, as is the house, because, as you know, we're getting ready to move house. The house is coming along, and I will try and take you there sometime to have a look around. So we are pretty much not in the kind of state where you want to have your family over for Christmas, put it that way. So we're going up to Albanach. The little cottage up there will be ready for us. There's enough beds for everybody, enough rooms, and there's a wee kitchen there, a lovely table and a nice lounge, and the Wi-Fi, necessity for the children. So that will be there, and we will just go up there on Christmas Eve, and we'll stay there on Christmas Day as well. And then on Christmas Eve up there, we have a carol service for the community up there. Sadly, as part of the various church closures in the Church of Scotland recently, not my church, there's a number of villages now that don't have a church of their own. So Sannox being in one of those communities, although we're a retreat centre, we're not a congregation, we do have a little carol service on Christmas Eve. And hopefully that enables folks in the locality just to plug into a nice relaxed sing-along on Christmas Eve. We had the first of those last year, because say the previous year before that, the other church was still open. So that's nice. And my colleague up there, Jim, he is a general caretaker and handyman and all that sort of thing. But one of his other key roles is he's a brilliant musician and songwriter and guitar player. So he'll be accompanying a good number of our carols, and then if there's some Christmas carols, don't necessarily lend themselves very well to being played on the guitar, just sometimes due to the musical structure of the chords. So I do play the piano as well. So if there's any that would lend themselves to piano, I'll play those, and we'll have a jolly good sing. And then the big day itself will be here. Christmas is strange, sometimes Christmas Day can be, let's face it, a little bit of an anticlimax, can't it? You can spend so much time moving up to the big day itself that when you actually get there, it feels a little bit sort of half redundant. Not redundant, that's not, there's things that you do, you spend time with the family, all that sort of thing, but it's a big workup, and the day itself can be tiring, or it may just be that I find it that way because traditionally over the years Christmas has been such a busy time. Not quite so much now, but certainly when I was serving as a Salvation Army officer, because not only did you have all the Christmas carol services and playing Christmas carols in the street and in care homes and all that sort of thing, you also had the whole food parcels and taking care of the elderly and the homeless and gifts for children who don't have resources coming their way and all that sort of thing. So I used to find that when I got to Christmas Day, I had absolutely zero energy left for anything else. I was absolutely done, and usually by the end of Christmas Day or the day after, I was often sick in bed, just absolutely done. So it's a bit different now, although things are still busy here. At the moment, there's just lots of extra things going on, just because of the things that we're involved in, as I say, but so a lot of it is self-inflicted. We should learn to say no to some stuff, but it's kind of the same for Mrs. Clark as well. It's just not really in our makeup. We've always just been people who get involved in the local community, and we love it. But thankfully, in between Christmas and New Year, there's nothing on, there's nowhere I need to be, and unless I'm having to respond to any pastoral needs, or if anyone passes away or anything like that, it's really a time just to chill out. It's not a time that you take a sort of official holiday. It's kind of just understood that this is the time of the year when you let your hair down a little bit. I might let my beard down a little bit. So yeah, time to relax. And then here in Scotland, New Year is always a jolly celebration. It's always not always by everybody, but it tends to have quite a prominence here in Scotland. And so we stay up for that, and with our family, we don't do anything raucous. We just stay up and we play games together, or watch television, or we usually watch Gaelic television because they have some lovely traditional music and concerts and celebrations like that. So we watch that because that's my vibe, and the children in the family have learned to understand that that's the case. So yeah, and then the new year will come. I have sort of planned in for myself some time off early in the new year. Really because I need it. I think I've hinted to the fact that I haven't been particularly well, probably since the beginning of November, and not to the degree that I am not able to go to work or anything like that, but I have had to pace myself through a number of issues, mainly because for pretty much all of my teenage and adult life, I have been plagued with some challenges with regards to mental health, and a lot of that is winter based. So this time of the year is particularly challenging for me, even when I'm feeling plenty jolly inside my own self. The darkness just sort of depletes my energies, and that inevitably comes with the dip in mood and all that sort of thing. So I'm actually sitting here this morning as I do this, and if I just turn you around there, I can't turn you around that far. No, it's not going to do it because it's fixed on my lovely face. But there you are. That's my bright light, which I sort of often sit in front. It just gets some brighter light into the back of the eyelids, which after I think 20 minutes, half an hour or so, allegedly gives just a little bit of a bounce, a bounce to my step and a spring in my hair. And that just keeps me going. And but no, I found that I need to, this week especially, because it's been a big week in terms of Christmas events and stuff, you don't want to turn up these things where you're like, just totally miserable and looking totally bedraggled. So this week especially, I have made sure that there's not more than one public engagement in my diary, which in some ways, I disappoint myself. It sounds quite pathetic, but no, it's not. It's not. I really know that I need to have space to rest and relax and just to chill out, so that I can be the best I can be for the situations that I find myself in. Incidentally, one of the things which gives me the most stress of all the tasks that I need to do. I mean, listen, you can stand me in front of 200 hardened prisoners and I will not bat an eyelid. I'm totally in my comfort zone. I can get in the vibe. I'm there. But yesterday, with Mrs. Clark being a primary school teacher, she teaches children who are sort of age 8 to 11. But she teaches at a very small school. I think they have about 16 children in the school. And yesterday, they were joining with another of the island's primary schools, with children throughout the whole primary school age. So altogether, with the two primary schools joined as one, there were about 20 children. And about probably 10 parents and about 5 or 6, maybe 7 members of staff. And so I went along to do the little Christmas assembly, and the children sung wonderfully. They played their glockenspiels. They did some lovely Christmas readings. One of the deputy head teachers was retiring at Christmas, so the little presentation for her. And of course, I just gave a little fun all-age talk, using the items in a cracker to explain the Christmas story, etc., etc. And it was all good fun, and it was fine. But honestly, the amount of stress that I give myself, when I'm speaking to a room full of children, you would not believe. And I know what the root of it is. When I was a child at school, we had a local minister. The churches here are mainly Presbyterian. The state church is Presbyterian. And so the local Presbyterian minister would come along on a regular basis, usually about once a month, for a school assembly, a collective worship thing. And this particular minister that was there during the whole time that I was in school, this man had grey shoes, grey socks, a grey suit, a grey shirt, a grey face, grey glasses, grey hair, and a grey tone of voice. And he used to talk like this, and it was very monotonous, and you just sort of sat there and you just wish it would all end. And so I think I've always had that fear that given the opportunity to go into a school, I might actually end up being like Mr. Grey as well, you know. So I think it's probably one of my fears, but I don't actually think I'm anything like that. I think I can be some good fun for the children, as well as obviously sharing, the little Christmas message with them. It's a great opportunity. Don't take it for granted at all. It's a really great privilege to be able to support the community in that kind of way. So yeah, so that's been the extent of it, and that's why there's no extra special content for you for this little second episode of my Vlogmas, because haven't really had the time to do filming. And to be honest, there's lots of things that I go and do that I can't just, film. There's other people and pastoral sensitivities and people's privacy and all that sort of thing. So it's just not always possible, folks. But on the knitting front, because this after all is a knitting channel, although I recognise that Vlogmas is different for lots of reasons and lots of people, I have been able to do a fair bit of knitting. Mainly last Wednesday, this is Wednesday as well, but last Wednesday, we, as in our little knit and blether group, which meet down in Whiting Bay, which is the next village south of here, we had our little Christmas party. I'm stash on the brain. And the reason I probably said stash is because we had this idea that we would all bring a craft-related gift, and they all went in a big box, these gifts, and they had a number added to them. Then they had to pick a number out the box, and we got the gift that had the number on it. And thankfully, it just so worked out that none of us actually got the gift that we bought ourselves, so we all got a different gift. And I got two lovely skeins of, I can't remember the name of the wool, and it's all upstairs in the living part of the house. But I got two lovely skeins of a sort of heather covered wool, which I have duly knitted up already because, and I'll enter a picture here, I don't have them to show you nearby, because you might have seen, if you follow me on Instagram, I recently, obviously a year ago, I bought a Centro knitting machine, one of those ones that knits around, and I just haven't had the opportunity or the chance to try it out. So I thought I'll try it out. Because I was thinking of it in terms of knitting charity beanies round about in the summer for winter time. Thinking I didn't get very many done last year, and so I wonder if this Centro knitting machine will be any good for knitting beanies. See what it's like. So I used some spare wool that I had, and I also used the lovely yarn that was gifted to me, and I made, I think, what are some quite nice beanies. They have the kind of design where you basically just knit a long tube. It's a long tube, and what you do is at either end, with the needle threaded through, you just then pull the ends close and then just tighten it, sew it in. So you then end up with a sort of long tapered sausage type idea. And then you just push one end inside the other, kind of like you do for the Musselburgh hat, if you've ever knitted a Musselburgh hat. And so you get a nice, thick, double weight beanie. And if you do it long enough, I found if you do 140 rows, you've then got plenty for a nice sized brim on the hat. So I've been very pleased with those. I'll say I've been very pleased with them in the sense that they've come from machine to machine, and all I've had to do is that, plus a little bit of, putting the yarn on, taking the yarn off, and fixing the odd slip stitch, which is really annoying. But one of the things that I haven't been so smiley about is that I guess you sometimes get this in your own hand knitting as well, perhaps where for a few stitches or maybe even for a row, your tension has changed for whatever reason. But it seems to be with the Centro that in every hat that I've knit so far, there always seems to be a line which isn't quite right. Now, I am sure that depending what wool you used, you could block it and perhaps that would sort itself out. But to be honest with you, I don't block very many things, but B, I certainly don't block hats. I've never had to. They've always been sort of okay. So I don't know. They're okay. You if you were just sort of wearing it if you weren't wearing it for the catwalk of Milan or Paris, you would get away with it. If you were wearing it to walk the dog, or you were out for a walk, or all that sort of thing, or you're just using it because you need to have something to keep you warm, you'd have no problems wearing it at all. It's absolutely fine. I guess the perfectionist in me is just a little bit unhappy with some of the unevenness. Yeah. So, but other than that, they're fine. I say I'll either have put a cutaway so you can see those, or I'll do it now. But fun. The most amazing thing about it is that, well, if you get everything right and there's no mistakes to fix, you can produce a beanie in the space of 20 minutes. I think the first couple that I did were 40 minutes because I had stuff that I had to actually fix on it, just because I was learning and all that sort of stuff. And incidentally, if you ever decide that you're going to buy yourself a Centro for your beanie knitting, or you can knit flat panels as well, but if you ever decide to do that, I would recommend using the little device whereby you put some scrap yarn on first, and then once you've done about 5 or 6 rows of scrap yarn, then add the yarn that you're going to use for your actual project, and knit away, spin away on your project, and then at the end of your project yarn, get your scrap yarn back out and do another 5 or 6 rows then. It means that when you then cast it off, casting off is the worst. That's where I was losing most of the stitches. So when you're casting off a good few rows of scrap yarn, which means you can go in very easily and get those stitches picked up with your, picking it up round the circle with your thread, your tail thread, and then you can pull it tight. And then you don't have the problem with the lost stitches. And having said that, when I've been knitting the beanies that I've knit so far, I haven't started off with scrap yarn because I usually find that the cast on edge is okay. It keeps fairly robust. I mean, it starts off quite loose, and you do have to give it a good tighten. But because I'm using a sort of scrunch method to pull the ends together, you can usually get it tight and satisfactory, both ends. And then you can just decide which end of the beanie you're going to stuff in as the inside and which you're going to have as the outside. Of course, it's reversible. I've seen people on YouTube where they do perhaps stripes for the first side of the beanie and then plain on the inside, and then you can have a reversible plain beanie or striped beanie. I've seen some beanies where they've created some rib sections in the middle. Now you can't do purl stitches on the central knitting machine. All you can do is you can let a stitch loose and then join it back up using your crochet needle and doing it as a purl stitch as opposed to a knit stitch, and then you can actually do some ribbing for one of your ends. I haven't done that because just haven't. I don't have the, can't be bothered. I just don't want to do that. But you can. So if you wanted to do that, it is possible, and there's plenty of people on YouTube that have some little videos that are almost like a sort of central school of knitting. And you can learn how to use the machine. Anyway, that's the news on the knitting front and on the general life situation so far. Now, very shortly, I don't know how long, my little lamp here, my little extra light for the back of the eyes that you can probably see just reflected there on my glasses, it will go off and I'll be plunged into darkness, because although it's about 1:30 in the afternoon here, it's cloudy and the sun this morning was only just above the hills over there over the bay, so not much sunlight at all today, thus the lamp. So I'm going to sign off very soon. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get one more video with you before Christmas comes itself. But I hope that whatever you're doing during this season, as I say, you're being good to yourself, you're taking care of yourself and those you love. And I hope that however you prepare and however you celebrate, those things are coming together. For those that are travelling to be with friends or family, I pray good travelling mercies for you. And I hope that whatever you do, if you celebrate or even if you don't, that you're able to have a good time over the next little season. So I'm at the stage now where I'm putting the inserts inside the covers, which is a very exciting task. Thank you for keeping me company whilst I've been doing that. And I shall see you very soon. Martian leven drasta, agus bianach diagad. Take care and God bless.